Hi, this is John Rosenhead, a Jerusalem psychotherapist. This week's Torah and Psychology post for Shavuos is titled, Let's Climb This Mountain Together. Because there are times in life where we are faced with challenges, we are faced with this mountain in front of us, which we can't overcome. It just seems so overwhelming. And we are so alone in facing this challenge that we don't even know how to take steps forward in order to overcome it. But it is at these times that we need somebody to help us, whether it's a family member, a friend, or a therapist, to help us take those steps, one after the other, to move forward and to slowly climb this mountain, to climb and overcome this challenge. And in fact, the research has shown how having someone to be there to help us changes the way we perceive challenges. In the sense, the research has actually taken this idea of a mountain, and we can use it as a metaphor for the idea of social support and how it helps a person to overcome challenges. Because they ask people to judge and assess how high they perceive a mountain to be, where they are looking at it under two conditions. One is when they are by themselves, and one is with a social support condition, meaning that they have a friend or someone significant who is there with them. And the results found that people that are by themselves judge a mountain to be higher, to be steeper, and more intimidating and overwhelming, in the sense that it is a challenge that it looks to be a higher mountain in front of them. Whereas those that have somebody there with them, someone there to support them, even when they're just standing and judging how high a mountain is, the perception changes when you have someone there with you. It starts to become something which is more manageable, something that seems less intimidating. The challenge seems smaller. So we see the power of social support. We see the power of having someone to be there with you when facing challenges and difficulties. And when we look at Matan Torah, and we see the events, Moshe Rabbeinu was given the charge of leading Bnei Yisrael out of Mitzrayim in order to bring them to the point of receiving the Torah. And the first point was when Moshe Rabbeinu met Kodesh Baruch Hu with a conversation at the sneh, at the burning bush. And whether it's for reasons of humility, the Mefarshim discussed, or whether it was a sense of over-humility, of being too humble, of a lack of belief maybe in himself, he felt that he wasn't able to do it by himself, until Hashem conceded and said, your brother Aaron can go with you. And then from this point it became a joint partnership, a co-leadership in a sense, of Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron together. And they led Bnei Yisrael out, and they brought them back to the same point. They brought them back to the burning bush, which was Har Sinai, and they received the Torah. And again, it's interesting, when we read the Pesukim, we see that Moshe Rabbeinu went up Har Sinai by himself, and then was told to go then back down Har Sinai to be with the rest of the Bnei Yisrael, when hearing the Aseret Dibros. And then he went back up again. And according to the Orach Chaim, Moshe Rabbeinu went up, and he went up actually with Aaron. Only Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron were allowed to ascend the mountain again together. At this point, after receiving the Torah, when they now have reached the point, the pinnacle of bringing the Bnei Yisrael out, and they become a people with the responsibility and the obligation to keep Torah and mitzvahs, the people of Hashem, led by Moshe. But it's not just Moshe alone. As we said, it became a joint leadership and a co-partnership between Moshe and Aaron, that it shouldn't be a challenge that, or perhaps Moshe perceived it as a challenge that was too great for him alone, and therefore it was something which he would do together with the support of someone with him, with the support of Aaron. And again, going back up the mountain now, it's significant that at least according to the Orach Chaim, that points out that it's Moshe and Aaron that are allowed to ascend again up to the top of the mountain, because it's a challenge that they took on together, that they could achieve together, because they were there to support each other, rather than Moshe Rabbeinu being alone with this task. So when we are faced with challenges, and when we have times where we just feel so alone, we need to find that person that can join us together on the journey, can go up the mountain, can take the steps together. Because based on the research and based on the Pesukim, we see that facing the mountain and climbing the mountain can be done, can be achieved, and it seems manageable when we have someone there with us to join us in this challenge. And built in, actually, within Matan, when we're looking at Shavuos now, and we're looking at the events of Matan Torah, we see that built into the events is this idea of a joint partnership between Moshe and Aaron. In a sense, this is part of the essence of Kabbalas Torah, of receiving the Torah, and also learning Torah, and the continued devotion and commitment to Torah is through a partnership. As we know, there's the significance of having a chavrusa, of learning together with someone, of sharing Torah, of delving and exploring and taking on the challenge in a sense of learning Torah and being committed to Torah. This is done with someone else. That the partnership, the back and forth of discussion, of learning together, of sharing ideas and respecting and listening to each other's views and taking it on and internalizing it. This is the whole process of learning Torah, but it's also it's connecting and tapping into the essence of Torah, which is a challenge that is achieved, as we see from the events of Matan Torah. It's a challenge that is achieved together in co-partnership. That which started with Aaron and Moshe helping each other to overcome the challenge is continued and is an ongoing process of limud Torah through a chavrusa, as we take on both the challenge and the pleasure and the success of achieving growth in Torah as well. It's something that is best done or can only be done when you're connected with somebody else, when you're learning together b'chavrusa. So hopefully, as we celebrating Shavuos, it can be a message for us, both in our sense, our growth in Torah and our connection to Kodesh Baruch Hu and Torah mitzvahs, but also as a way of how we take on challenges in life and difficulties in our life, that we find the chavrusa, we find the person that will join us in this journey together, to take on and ascend the mountain to achieve our goals and to overcome these hardships and difficulties and to feel the success. So I wish you Chag Sameach and good Shabbos and keep well.